My name is Robin Graves. I never wanted to be a news source whatsoever. I never wanted to do my rants online, especially in video. But seeing the news and the bias there is, I was left with no choice. Welcome to the world according to Graves. Hey everybody, this is Robin Graves for the world according to Graves. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been quite a while. Let's wet my whistle real fast. Diets, 7 Up, yeah. Uh, Something a little different. Trying to cut down the caffeine a little bit. So, bottoms up, ma. So what am I going to talk about tonight? Being 10 o'clock p.m. I wasn't going to make this video. Told myself I would never make this video, but kind of been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I'm very honestly, in real life, a very private person. I don't talk about a lot of stuff. Personal matters to people who don't really know me. But you are my audience. And you guys do mean a lot to me. And I haven't put a video out in a while. The news has been going so fast. There's been so much bullshit happening. Hey, I cursed and it's only a minute 28 into the video. There's so much bullshit happening. I decided, you know what? It's moving so fast. I think it's time for me to slow down. I have a lot going on. I got the band going on. I've got filming going on. I've got a lot of things that's taking a lot of my time. I thought, you know what? This is something that's been on my mind for a very long time that I need to talk about. I need to get off my chest, I guess. This is, I don't know how to put this. Whatever word you want to put in that it's called. I thought maybe I'll just do this, get it off my chest, and move on. It's not an easy thing for me to do. I'm very private. I keep my personal affairs to myself. My personal life is pretty much to myself. If you're not a friend of mine, but you are my audience. You have kept me from going insane quite a bit. Trust me, or more insane than I already am. So bear with me, people. We're going to talk about something I've never talked to many people about because I don't think they would understand. But I want to talk about this and get it out of the way and gone and move on and stuff. I come from a very abusive childhood, very abusive. The parental units. I was the oldest one of 3 children. The parental units, they didn't really understand a lot of what it was like to be a kid in the 80s. I mean, they grew up in the 50s and 60s, and the 80s was very rough, and they didn't understand what it was like to live, to be a teenager in the 80s. I remember us being so close to World War III under Reagan that I sat on the back of my mother's car one night. I couldn't sleep. I sat on the back of my mother's car and cried because I honestly didn't think I was gonna. If I went to sleep, I would wake up in the morning. I thought we'd all be dead. had a lot on my mind. My mother was very religious and shoved religion down your throat. She shoved it down mine. If you didn't go to her church, you were filth. You were garbage. You weren't worth knowing. She shoved me into the door every day. Every time it opened, she's shoving me in the door. Her excuse was, "Well, you need to learn to go now because when you're an adult, it's so hard to go." The father figure was very abusive too. He was more physically abusive. I remember plenty of times him slapping me around, me coming in the door from school, and him being mad at me for some reason, something he must have made up because I don't remember anything like this happening. I was being accused of, and him laying into me, oftentimes slapping the piss out of me. There were times where he actually knocked me unconscious. Uh, that's kind of rough to deal with. Waking up, coming to on the floor with him still screaming at me, continuously. And my mother would sit there and let him do it. I asked her one time, "Why do you let him do this?" She said her only excuse was, "I'm just trying to keep the peace." In other words, she was his enabler. John and Christine, John was his little prince. He was the youngest. John did no wrong. Christine was his princess. She did no wrong. If they did something to me and I said anything about it, I got drilled. Because they never saw it happen, so it couldn't have happened. I'm just lying about it. I didn't make straight A's in school. I didn't care about school that much. I was more interested in just getting away, escaping, someplace to go, someplace to hang out at, just to get away. I got nailed quite a few times for not making straight A pluses. Not that John and Christine made any. They both failed a grade. I didn't. In fact, I was in gifted classes for a while when I was in grade school. In high school, I just didn't give a shit anymore. I just wanted to leave. I was biding my time. There's a lot that went on that people I've known since then didn't know went on. I kept it to myself. I thought everybody's family was this way. I didn't know. I didn't know what real families were until I was in my 20s. I didn't know everybody's family weren't like this till I think it was 22, 23. Yeah, somewhere in there. The father figure was career Navy, and he didn't understand that his rank in the Navy meant nothing as a civilian, and I wasn't some seaman, or private or whatever he wanted me to be. I was a civilian. I knew nothing about it. Hell, when I was 15 years old, him tearing into me, telling me I was no son of his, which comes into play later. I didn't. Hell, I all I knew at the time was, I really liked Van Halen. You know, uh, everything I did, anything I was into was sinful. Everything was going to send me to hell. If I needed to listen to church music and bluegrass and safe music like that, like mom and my and the father figure listened to. I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies because they're going to send me to hell. Wasn't allowed to read comic books because they're going to send me to hell. I should read the Bible instead. They're the reason. Their actions towards me are the reason I converted to Buddhism in my mid-20s. I'm still to this day a devout Buddhist. Uh, because of them, I can't stand being around churches. They make me feel icky. Um, I've I've had so many times where they were telling me I'm going to go to hell because I don't believe like they do, and this is before I was ever out of my teens. Um, this led to me later on, about 3 years ago, um, 2 3 years ago, um, being diagnosed with severe PTSD. Um, I've said before I have PTSD. I've never said to anybody how severe. Um, this didn't manifest in my mid 20s. And I thought everybody was fucked up like me. I thought everybody thought like I did. There were times I was confused and was wondering, why is it that I can't stand being around crowds or being around people, or why am why am I so depressed all the time? Why am I contemplating suicide? We'll get into that later. Uh, and nobody else says, or at least they don't talk about it. So I'm going to keep it to myself too. So I began to think everybody did this. Everybody had this problem, and I was told the whole time, excuse me, that I have a very bad temper. I knew nothing about depression. I knew nothing about how depression uh, works. I didn't even know what depression was. It turns out depression oftentimes leads to extreme anger. It's a little weird that way. And evidently, I've been suffering from depression for decades and didn't know it. The anxiety for decades, and I thought I was just didn't know what to think. I thought everybody had this. No, they didn't. I found that out about 2, 3 years ago. So it was something really new to me when I back you know 2 or 3 years ago. But um, I found out well, don't let me get ahead of myself. I went through bad marriages. I married women that I didn't care anything about, just because the parents were pushing me into getting married and having children so they could have grandchildren, because once I got married and had kids, it'd be good for me. I'll grow up. Their idea of me growing up was short hair, dressing like Opie Taylor, going to church every time the doors open, and kissing their feet for them allowing me to have the gift of life. Even though the father figure beat the shit out of me on a regular basis, and the mother figure allowed him to do it and wouldn't stop him. Yeah, that's kind of a odd way of thinking about things. Um, I myself had no role model as a father, so I was not the perfect father either. Um, I was married to a woman I couldn't stand. I refer to her to this day as the Antichrist. She cheated and cheated on me, stole from me, lied about me. We had a child together. I just every time I said anything about what's going on, all I would hear from my parents were, "Well, you need to stay with her because nobody else could stand you." Or my mother would say, "Well, that's just the way life is." No, it's not the way life is. That's the life she accepted, not the life I was going to live. That I was going to live. Um, wow, well, it's all coming like a flood, like a flood. But I found out April. Um, I'm not an angry person. Okay, I'm far from being an angry person in real life. In real life, I'm very calm. I actually joke around a lot. Ask people who know me. There's people out there in social media land who know me pretty well. Handful of people, but they do. Um, they'll even tell you I'm not violent. Uh, Last April, I found out something very odd. Back in January, my wife and I were talking about everything that went on, everything about the father figure. Um, and she said, "Do you ever come to think that maybe he wasn't your father?" I thought it was ridiculous to I thought it was asinine for her to say that. Just that the whole thought, the whole concept to me was ridiculous. So I was talking to the person that got me to doing this, the videos. He doesn't want his name mentioned, so we'll just call him Gonzor, Lord of Darkness. Hey, love you, man. You're like a brother. He went and got me a DNA test done. Got me set up for a DNA test to be done. I went ahead, did the DNA test. I was told my whole life I was Native American, well, Apache and German. Found out the DNA test, that was all a lie. I'm Italian. That explains a lot of my attitude. The talking with my hands thing, I guess. I told my wife, she said, now I see it. And I found out that the father figure was not my father. My father was a guy named James Vincente. He and my mother had an affair. And back in 1966, about the time I was conceived. I always wondered why I didn't look like the father person. I resembled my mother more than him. Found out Mr. Vincente, was from Staten Island, New York. He got married back in, I believe, 1970. Had 3 kids. I've spoken to all 3 of them. They're wonderful people. They're great. You know, they thought I was going to come to them with my hand stuck out. I told them, no, I don't want what you have. Just like I don't want you guys having what I have. You know, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. I'm not here, you know, wanting anything from you other than just to know you, just know you're there. Just to wonder, you know, to know that I'm not alone. I found out that Mr. Vincente passed away in 1990. I never got to know my real father. I was grown up by I was raised by somebody who didn't like me, and I always wondered why he didn't like me. And last April, I found out I wasn't his. So because my mother had an affair, he decided to take it out on me. Good going, Dad. Hope you're in hell. So, you know, it really messed with me really bad. The bad marriages, the losing everything over and over again, being thrown away. There were times I was homeless because the ex-wife didn't want me around anymore. She'd sit down and listen to her mother or some single friend of hers and thought it was going to be really cool for her to be single again. And she'd find out she couldn't make it on her own. And she'd come dragging me back in. And of course we had a child together, so I went back anyways. I couldn't stand the idea of somebody else raising my child. So this the sense of loyalty I have, it's gotten me into a lot of trouble. You know, in the past, you know, with stuff like that. Um, Let me get a drink here real fast, guys. Hold on 1 second. 7-Up. Ugh. If you notice, I'm not mentioning many names here. I'm not even mentioning my real name. No, Robin Graves. It's not my real name. That was the wrestling name I used. I don't want people knowing exactly where I'm living at or what my real name is because I don't want a bunch of people storming my house at 3 o'clock in the morning with pitchforks and torches. I say some pretty controversial things, especially for social media. No, but I found that out, and I'm not really an angry person, but due to this, I have so much anger. I'm keeping it deep inside. People tell me, well, you need an outlet. Well, I play in a rock band, so, I mean, that keeps me sane. I do a lot of, well, Warhammer 40,000 stuff. You know, that keeps me sane. I come here, talk to you good people. That keeps me sane. You know, yeah, the depression does get bad. Back in 2016, I was diagnosed with some pretty nasty heart problems that pretty much made my life come to a screeching halt. That was rough for me. I sat on that couch one day back in summer of 2016 and had my wife's 380 loaded and very calmly put it to my head, squeezed the trigger. It fired Well, let me put it this way. The firing pin engaged. The bullet didn't fire. I still keep it. Just to remind me how that it's too easy. Nice little 380. Well, that would have done some serious damage to my cranium, don't you think? So, hopefully YouTube doesn't get rid of me for this. Or whatever social media this is put on, whatever. You know, this just didn't. We're just talking. I made it a point since that time not to try to do this anymore. I mean, at the time, it would have been pretty bad. My wife would have come in from work, found a dead body and a bloody hell of a mess on the floor. I would have really messed up my hair. But kind of glad that didn't happen now. Seems things are turning around. August of last year, I got very good news. My heart functions at 95%. It's better function than people who are totally healthy. My blood pressure is under control. My diabetes is under control. I'm involved in a lot of things again. People tell me, well, you need to slow down. Problem is, I have 5 years to make up for. I didn't know I was going to make up for them in a couple of months. I kind of like being busy. It gives me a purpose. It gives me something that I can do, something to look forward to. It keeps me from trying to put one of these in my head again. It keeps my mind off the anger. People tell me, well, with the depression, just snap out of it. That's a little hard to do. That's like you breaking your legs and me telling you, walk it off. They keep saying, I've had people tell me, well, you need to see a psychologist. It's not a psychologist. Found out what I wanted to find out. They're saying, well, there's such things as antidepressants. No. I refuse to take antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication. I'll tell you why. Shrinks don't care about you. You're just a paycheck. You go talk to them for 45 minutes. They write your prescription, send you on your way. You take the pills. You're happy? No. You turn into a friggin' zombie. You have brain fog. You have forgetfulness. You'll forget your own address. You sleep a lot. You're confused. And it doesn't do a damn thing for you. It's like a dam holding back a river. That's the depression, the everything, the anxiety, the everything. It's holding back all of that. And you get tired of taking the pills. You get tired of being a George Romero cast member. You hate being you get to hate being a zombie. You quit taking your pills. The dam goes away, and everything was holding back all that time hits you all at once. That's why when you hear people that, like me, who they go insane, and it's on medication, and they quit taking the medication, go crazy, and they hurt somebody or kill themselves, if not both. And you always hear somebody says, "Well, he was just off his meds. He wouldn't take his meds anymore." See, there's no cure for PTSD. There is no cure whatsoever. There's no treatment for it. The only thing I found that's actually good is me sitting down and talking to somebody else who has it, and just talking. There's somebody to talk, because they want to talk to you, and you guys could sit there and talk, and get these things out. I play music. That's good for it. It's good therapy. Once, twice a week, the band gets together and rehearse. I think we're doing pretty damn good. We've already played a live gig once, already. Even my drummer has the anxiety problems like I have. And we're great friends now. We talk to each other about everything. You know, um, my wife knows how I am. Um, she knows what I do. She knows how this affects me. I spend a lot of time alone because I don't want to say or do something to piss her off, because I would never be able to forgive myself. I mean, I've got a wife that's too hot for my own good. She's too good to me. She's everything in the world. I'll give up anything for her. You know, people think that if I'm in a bad spot, do you want to talk? You need to talk. No, I need to be left alone, is what I need. You know, I do a lot of research online. I research everything I can. I research the most trivial garbage till my eyes bleed. I have researched string theory. I've researched a temporal theory. You know, stuff like that, just to keep my mind occupied. You know, I read a lot. I guess I'm a nerd. That's a good word for me. I'm a nerd. You know, but yeah, I just wanted you guys to know where I'm at and what's going on. You know, I'm fine. I have my good days, I have my bad days. Some days are better than some days. Sometimes I have more good days than bad. Other times I have more bad days than good. You know, um, that's the way it works. But you know, to appreciate the good, you got to know the bad. And believe me, I appreciate the good days. I've done a lot in my life. I've done a lot. Movies, music, professional wrestling, recording and touring with a band. You know, back in the early 2000s. I'm in the process of writing a novel. I'm getting the kinks worked out to start writing it. I would like to write a script based on the novel. I believe it would be a really good horror movie. Uh, it's we'll get into that later on. Uh, but yeah, it's been interesting. I expect it to be even more interesting as time goes on. You know, all things considered, being told my entire life by people I thought were my parents that I'm useless, I'll never be anything. Well, I guess they're wrong. I've lived enough for 3 lifetimes. I intend to live for enough for three more. You know, I was called a dinosaur the other day because, you know, the music I listen to, the music we're playing, classic rock. I like older movies, you know, and I don't dress like people this decade. I don't have my hair cut off short. My hair's pretty long. It's called a dinosaur. Good. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a compliment to me because being a dinosaur, I left some pretty deep fucking footprints. You're gonna know I was there. And believe me, I'm not through yet. But anyway, guys, look, I got this. I want to get this off my chest. Put another video out. Let you guys know I'm still here. This is just a personal look into things. Let you guys know me a little better. Know where I'm coming from. There's so many people out there that are making videos that you don't even know anything about them. You just look at them, hear the voice in their face, and that's all they are. They're not a person. But I respect you guys as an audience. I respect you too much to let you just to be a voice. I wanted you to know that I was also a person just like you. I may have some of the same problems you have. I may not have the problems you have. I may have worse. I may have better. Who knows? But look, guys, leave me a message. Let me know what's going on. And every one of you guys, I want to let you know you mean the world to me. All dozen of you, I guess. You know, I've spent most of my life in front of an audience, and I know when to respect an audience, and I respect you guys. Thank you. I'll catch you guys next time. It's been Robin Graves. It's been The World According to Graves, and catch me next time when I'll talk about something interesting. Love every one of you. Peace.